Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Real power is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It just rearranges everything you thought you knew. You see, most people think danger wears a loud suit, screaming orders, flexing fake muscles, posting desperate motivational quotes on Instagram. Wrong. The deadliest creature in the jungle is the one you didn't hear coming. Fact. In the animal kingdom, the most feared predator isn't the lion that roars. It's the leopard that stalks without a sound, then strikes before you even realize your prey. And no, you don't get a warning roar or a Hollywood soundtrack. That's you. You're the glitch in their system, the silent rebellion they never prepared for. While your haters swing wildly in the dark, trying to fight ghosts, you're already sipping victory like it's Tuesday afternoon coffee. You don't break into rooms demanding respect. You make people uncomfortable by simply existing. And somehow, watching them squirm without lifting a finger is way more entertaining than Netflix. Now, buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't for the faint-hearted. It's a battle map for the Sigma male who's so dangerously untouchable. His enemies don't just lose, they self-destruct trying to figure him out. Number 1. You're dangerous because you don't crave control. You destroy those who try to control you. You're dangerous because you don't crave control. You destroy those who try to control you. Most people don't get this. They assume the most dangerous men are the ones who chase power, who want to dominate others, who sit on top of hierarchies barking orders and craving attention. But that's not you. You're not dangerous because you want control. You're dangerous because you don't. And when someone tries to manipulate you, box you in, or pull your strings, they discover the one truth that terrifies them most. You have nothing they can hold over your head. You don't play the usual games. You don't need their approval, their money, their acceptance, or their spotlight. That makes you immune to the tools they use to control everyone else. You're not tied to their rewards, so their threats don't work on you. You walk away from offers that most men would kill for, and that's what shakes people. They don't know how to handle someone who's not for sale. Control freaks hate you because you break the illusion they built their entire lives on. They think if they dangle the right incentive, you'll follow. If they press the right emotional button, you'll flinch. If they shame you, you'll conform. But when they try and you don't move an inch, it's like throwing gasoline on their insecurities. They panic, they rage, they fall apart. And you don't even need to raise your voice. You don't argue. You don't explain yourself. You just keep walking in your own direction. And that act alone, that quiet refusal to be owned, is nuclear. You're the one who doesn't bite the bait, doesn't chase the hook, doesn't kneel to the game. That's what makes you untouchable. That's what makes you feared. You're not fighting for control because you've already mastered the only thing worth owning, yourself. Everyone else is busy trying to run others. You run your own mind, your own time, your own energy. And that's exactly why anyone trying to control you ends up broken. You didn't fight them, you just refused to need them. And that was the final blow. Number 2, you let enemies spend energy attacking shadows, because you're never where they think you are. You let enemies spend energy attacking shadows, because you're never where they think you are. That's the thing about you. You're unpredictable to the point of being untouchable. Your enemies come armed with plans, assumptions, fake confidence, and outdated maps. But while they're swinging at who they think you are, you've already evolved into something they can't track. They're reacting to ghosts, trying to outplay a version of you that no longer exists. And every attempt to strike you is just them draining their own energy. You don't announce your moves. You don't explain your next step. You're not on a schedule they can follow or a script they can analyze. They expect confrontation, but you give them silence. They expect a reaction, but you vanish. They want a war, but you're off building an empire somewhere they can't even locate. That's why you win, because while they're plotting to beat the man they thought they understood, you've already shapeshifted into something sharper, smarter, and colder. You don't defend yourself because you never needed to. You're not where their accusations land. You're not where their insults hit. They make noise, but it's aimed at air, at shadows of a man who's already 2 phases ahead. And here's the killer part. They keep coming back, more frustrated, more desperate, trying harder each time to provoke you. but all they're doing is weakening themselves, exhausting their energy, chasing a ghost that refuses to stand still. You force people to show their cards while holding none of your own on the table. You don't flinch. You don't explain. You don't even bother counterattacking. You simply watch them burn calories, swinging at empty space, while you reserve your power for precision, hits that actually matter. That's strategy. That's dominance without noise. That's Sigma-level warfare. In the end, your enemies don't lose because you fought them. They lose because you refuse to show up to the fight. They're bruised from battles you never even participated in. They collapse under the weight of their own aggression, and by the time they realize they've been shadowboxing the entire time, you've already rewritten the game. Number 3. You treat praise and hatred as identical insults, distractions from the mission. You treat praise and hatred as identical insults, distractions from the mission. That's the part people can't wrap their heads around. Most are addicted to feedback, desperate for likes, applause, validation, or at the very least, some recognition that they exist. But not you. You've learned that both praise and hate are just different flavors of the same poison. They pull you away from yourself. One tries to seduce you, the other tries to shake you, but both aim to control you. Praise is a trap dressed as a compliment. It makes you feel seen, appreciated, maybe even admired. But that's the hook. It quietly conditions you to need more of it. You start performing for it. You start adjusting yourself to fit the version of you they cheer for. And just like that, you've left your mission to entertain the crowd. Hatred is louder, nastier, more obvious. But the goal is the same, to pull you off course. Haters want to see if they can break your focus, trigger your reaction, drag you into their mess. They insult not because they're brave, but because they're desperate for your attention. And the second you react, even to defend yourself, they win. Because now you're not building anymore. You're explaining, proving, defending, wasting time. You don't give them the luxury. You see both the applause and the insults as noise, irritating background hums from people who don't even understand the blueprint you're working with. They don't know your mission. They don't know your standards. They're not in the arena you're fighting in. So why would their cheers or their boos matter? You're not cold. You're clear. You know exactly why you're doing what you do. You're not chasing approval and you're not running from criticism. You're locked in. And when someone's locked in like that, both praise and hate bounce off them like pebbles off steel. That's what scares people the most. Not that you don't care, but that you can't be swayed. You've outgrown the emotional currency they use to buy most men's souls. That makes you untouchable. And being untouchable in a world built on attention addiction is the most dangerous thing you can be. Number 4. You never argue. You watch them die slowly in the court of consequences. You never argue. You watch them die slowly in the court of consequences. Because you've learned that arguments are cheap. They cost nothing to throw around, and anyone with an ego and a Wi-Fi signal can start one. That's why you don't bother. You don't play courtroom with people who think loud opinions are the same as truth. You let them talk, let them mock, let them project their insecurities with full confidence. And then you walk away, calm and unbothered, while time sharpens its blade. You understand something most don't. Truth doesn't need a defense team. It just needs space. While they're busy trying to win the crowd, you're busy building results. While they're typing essays and recording rants, you're in the shadows setting up the fall they don't see coming. And when it hits, when the truth walks in without saying a word, there's no need for "I told you so." Reality does the talking for you, and it speaks louder than any argument ever could. Arguing is emotional warfare. It's a trap for men who still need to be seen as right. But being right isn't your goal. Being effective is. You don't need to win debates, because you know outcomes are the only language that matters. When their plans fall apart, when their lies catch up, when their fake image crumbles under pressure, you're already miles ahead, watching quietly from a distance as karma gives them the exact punishment they mocked you about. It's not that you don't have comebacks. You have arsenals. You just don't waste ammunition on noise. Your silence cuts deeper than their insults. Your progress screams louder than their opinion. And your ability to stay calm while the truth hunts them down. That's what terrifies them the most, They wanted a fight. What they got was a slow, public unraveling. Not because you attacked, but because you refused to engage. You left them in a cage they built with their own arrogance, and all you did was shut the door and walk away. No argument, no performance, just results, just reality, just domination, delivered in silence. Number 5. You learned that compassion without standards is suicide, and you let the weak destroy themselves. You learned that compassion without standards is suicide, and you let the weak destroy themselves. You've seen what happens when you try to save everyone. You become the life raft for people who don't even want to swim. They just want to cling to someone strong while they slowly sink, dragging you with them. And you're done with that. You've seen how some people aren't victims of circumstance. They're victims of their own repeated intentional self-sabotage. And the more you help them, the more they depend on being helpless. So, you stopped. Not because you're heartless, but because you're smart. You understand the difference between someone who's drowning and someone who jumps in every time, knowing you'll reach out. You've been burned enough times to know that compassion is not unconditional. It has to be earned, respected, and most importantly, deserved. Weakness isn't always innocent. Sometimes it's weaponized. Sometimes it's used as a mask to hide manipulation, laziness, or entitlement. You saw through it. You stopped rewarding people for doing nothing. You stopped extending your hand to those who spit on it, then cry when they fall. You realized that trying to rescue the undisciplined is a slow form of self-destruction. Their failure becomes your stress. Their chaos becomes your distraction. Their weakness becomes your responsibility. And that's a trap. Now, your compassion has standards. You don't hand out mercy to people who treat life like a joke. You help the strong rise higher, not the ones who fake helplessness for attention. You value effort. You respect those who fight. But if someone refuses to grow, refuses to take accountability, refuses to get up when life knocks them down, you let them lay there. You don't babysit broken potential. You bury it. People will call you cold. They'll say you've changed. And they're right. You have. You're done bleeding for people who cut themselves. You're not God. And you're not a lifeguard for those who keep diving into deep water without ever learning how to swim. You walk past the chaos now, not because you don't care, but because you finally care about yourself more. And that's not cruelty, that's power. Number 6, you are a black hole to fake alliances. People can't cling to you because you give them no surface to grip. You're a black hole to fake alliances. People can't cling to you because you give them no surface to grip. That's the brutal truth. Manipulators, clout chasers, leeches, they can't survive around you. They come in smiling, pretending to connect, pretending to support, thinking they've found another puppet they can use. But the second they try to sink their hooks in, they find nothing to hold on to. No ego to flatter, no desperation to exploit, no hunger for belonging. You don't need their network, their validation, their fake respect, and that makes you untouchable. You give off nothing that signals weakness, nothing they can twist. You don't overshare, you don't flinch, you don't react. So they're stuck circling, frustrated, watching every tactic fail. They can't guilt you, bait you, or charm you. The energy they usually feed on, insecurity, fear of abandonment, need for approval, doesn't exist in you, and it drives them insane. People like that need mirrors. They need to see themselves reflected in someone else to feel powerful. But you're not a mirror. You're a black hole. They step into your space expecting to orbit, expecting to control the dynamic. But instead they vanish. Their tricks don't just fail. They get consumed. Their fake personas crumble. Their false loyalty is exposed, and they're left standing there naked, confused, and furious. You don't play power games because you are the game. You don't chase connections. You watch who survives proximity. The ones with masks, the ones who try to manipulate you into loyalty without earning it, the ones who pretend to support while scheming on the side, they don't last. Not because you destroy them, but because they destroy themselves trying to bend you. And when they fail, they say you're too cold, too distant, too hard to reach. But the truth is simple. You just don't allow parasites to stick. You gave them no angle, no handle, no grip. You let their tactics fall flat in your presence. You didn't reject them. You absorbed their manipulation, starved it of oxygen, and let it collapse under its own emptiness. That's why they run. Not because you exposed them, but because being around you forced them to expose themselves. Number 7. You've become the weapon evolution designed for the fake world, adaptable, ruthless, invisible until it's too late. You've become the weapon evolution designed for the fake world, adaptable, ruthless, invisible until it's too late. This world isn't built on truth anymore. It's built on noise, illusion, and attention-chasing performance. Everyone's trying to be seen, trying to be heard, trying to matter in a digital circus where the loudest fool gets the spotlight. But while they're busy building fragile personas, you've been sharpening something far more dangerous. Yourself. Quietly, ruthlessly, without asking for applause. You don't adapt to trends, you adapt to environments. You shapeshift in silence, learning the systems, reading the players, calculating the flaws. And when you strike, it's already too late for anyone to stop you. You didn't announce the move, you didn't beg for backup. You just executed. Clean, cold, and decisive. By the time they realize they've underestimated you, they're already beneath the weight of your success. You're not part of the fake world. You studied it, cracked it open, dissected its games. You understood how people lie, how they perform, how they pretend to be powerful while being hollow inside. And instead of reacting emotionally, you became the one thing this world can't defend against. A man with nothing to prove, but everything aligned internally. That's the real threat. A man with focus, patience, and precision in a world of distractions, shortcuts, and fake confidence. You don't show off, you show up when it counts, and never before. No previews, no warnings, no dramatics. You're the type who's laughed at in the beginning and feared by the end. They see you too late. They figure it out when the deal's closed, when the door's locked, when the game's already been won and they're still stuck posting about their journey. You are evolution's response to weakness, to noise, to ego. While they inflated themselves online, you armored yourself in real life. You don't play by the fake world's rules. You hunt in it, silently, effectively. And when the dust clears, they're left staring at the wreckage, still trying to figure out what happened. But you won't be there to explain. You've already moved on to the next target. Number 8. You weaponize silence like a sniper uses a scope, precise, patient, and fatal at the right moment. You weaponize silence like a sniper uses a scope, precise, patient, and fatal at the right moment. Most people think silence means weakness, uncertainty, or fear. But you've turned it into your sharpest weapon. While others rush to speak, to justify, to prove themselves, you do nothing. And that nothing hits harder than any outburst ever could. You understand that silence isn't the absence of action. It's the setup. It's where the power gathers. It's where the damage is calibrated. You don't respond emotionally. You don't rush in to defend your name, your image, or your pride. You watch. You listen. You calculate. And just like a sniper breathing steady behind the scope, you wait for that single clean shot. The moment where one move ends everything. Not with noise, not with spectacle, but with quiet precision that leaves no room for a comeback. Your enemies don't know how to handle it. They want drama. They want chaos. They want something loud to aim at, something they can debate, tear down, or twist, but you don't give them anything. You become a ghost in their strategy, a blank space they can't predict, and in that vacuum they start crumbling. They overthink, they lash out, they reveal their own weaknesses trying to get a reaction from someone who already decided they're irrelevant. Silence is your camouflage and your kill shot. It draws no attention, leaves no trace, and delivers the outcome before they even realize the game has started. By the time they feel the consequences, it's already done, and you've moved on, unbothered, untouched, and untraceable. You're not the loud warrior on the front lines. You're the calm one they forgot about, until everything falls apart. Your silence isn't passive. It's pressure. It's dominance without effort. It's the reason your enemies feel uneasy when you're around and paranoid when you're gone. Because deep down, they know something terrifying. You don't need to raise your voice to destroy them. You just need one clear shot, and they'll never hear it coming. Number 9. You mastered the art of appearing lazy while secretly building an empire behind locked doors. You mastered the art of appearing lazy while secretly building an empire behind locked doors. You let them think you're doing nothing, that you're coasting, that you've slowed down, lost your edge, or maybe even given up. You let them laugh, mock, underestimate, because all of that serves you. People reveal their true nature when they think you're not a threat. They get sloppy, arrogant, loud. And while they're broadcasting fake wins and chasing clout, you're in the dark, working quietly, obsessively, ruthlessly. You don't flex your progress, you don't post every step. You don't announce your grind because your work isn't for show. It's for impact. You move like a ghost, but think like a chess master. Every day, another piece gets put in place, another angle is locked down, another future move is secured. And no one sees it coming because you've disguised your focus as disinterest. That's what makes it so lethal. They think you're asleep while you're redesigning the game. They assume you're behind because you're not online bragging. They don't realize the silence is strategic. It's insulation. It's power being compressed into something unstoppable. And then the day comes when you make your move. You don't just level up, you arrive with force. The same people who joked about your lack of hustle are now watching you dominate terrain they didn't even know existed. They're still on the battlefield, swinging swords at each other, while you've already claimed the throne no one noticed being built. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You let the results slap the words out of their mouths, because once the checkmate hits, there's no more arguing, no more pretending, no more fake smiles, just stunned silence, and the slow, bitter realization that the person they thought was lazy was never asleep. He was just playing a different game. Number 10. You operate on loyalty to purpose, not to people, and that's terrifying to manipulators. You operate on loyalty to purpose, not to people, and that's terrifying to manipulators. Most people are owned by their need to belong, be liked, feel accepted. They'll compromise for approval, bend for affection, or sell themselves cheap for a seat at someone else's table. But not you. You made a decision early on. Your purpose comes first, above comfort, above ego, above relationships. That makes you dangerous in a way manipulators can't handle. Because nothing they offer moves you. They try the usual games: flattery, guilt, emotional leverage, sex, influence, praise. They dangle temptation in front of you like they've done with every weak man before. But it doesn't work. Not because you're numb, but because you're anchored. You're not floating in need. You're marching towards something so much bigger than their shallow tricks. And they know it. They feel it. They can't seduce a man who's not looking to be distracted. They can't shame a man who answers only to his own code. They can't bribe a man who already burned the bridge to comfort. You don't betray your mission for company. You don't slow down for validation. You don't soften up so others can feel safe around your intensity. If someone aligns with your purpose, they're welcome. If they don't, they're irrelevant. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. People are used to being able to influence men, emotionally, socially, financially. But when they meet someone like you, unmoved, focused, loyal only to the mission, it scares them. Because you're not playing the human chess game. You're not chasing allies. You're chasing the finish line. And here's the part they can't stand. You'll walk away from anyone, friend, lover, mentor, if they try to pull you off course. No speech, no drama, just silence and distance. You're not heartless. You're just committed. And in a world full of people who worship attention and connection, the man who worships purpose instead, he's not just rare, he's a threat. And they know it the second their manipulation fails, and you keep walking. Number 11. You radiate a threat level without lifting a finger, because real predators don't bark, they wait. You radiate a threat level without lifting a finger, because real predators don't bark, they wait. Most people are quick to announce their power, their intentions, their plans. They scream for attention, hoping the world hears them and acknowledges their strength. But you've learned the most powerful predators are the ones who say nothing at all. They don't need to announce their presence because their silence speaks volumes. It's not about what you do. It's about the weight of what you could do if you chose to. You don't chase. You don't need to. You let the world come to you. drawn in by the quiet intensity you project without ever speaking. And when they do, when they start testing, pushing, trying to see if you'll crack, they find something far more terrifying than they expected. They find a man who knows exactly who he is and exactly what he's capable of, and yet he says nothing. You're not anxious, you're not reacting, you're not looking for approval or attention. Instead, you exist in a state of quiet power, your energy focused and contained like a coiled spring. That's what gets under people's skin, the uncertainty, the knowledge that you could explode at any moment, but you don't, because you don't need to. It's the calm before the storm that makes them run. You don't have to show your claws to intimidate. They feel the shift when you enter a room, like an animal instinctively sensing the presence of something dangerous. They know the storm is coming. They just don't know when or how it will hit. And that fear, that uncertainty, eats away at them far more than any threat could, because it means they are powerless. They can't predict you, they can't manipulate you, and they can't control the outcome. You don't bark, you don't roar, you don't make noise. You just wait calmly and watch as they self-destruct, unsure of when the storm will break and where they'll be when it does. And when it finally happens, when they realize the storm is you, it's too late. You've already taken everything you need without lifting a finger, and they're left with nothing but the wreckage of their own fear. Number 12. You're a silent architect of chaos, rearranging realities without warning or permission. You're a silent architect of chaos, rearranging realities without warning or permission. While others are caught up in the noise, building their self-image, chasing attention, and posting about their success, you're quietly reshaping the world around you. They think they're living life, capturing moments for Instagram, but they're just playing in the shallow end. You're building empires, changing entire landscapes, making moves that shift things, people, and systems without ever asking for approval or acknowledgement. You've learned the art of invisibility. You don't announce your plans, you don't give previews, you don't hand out blueprints. Instead, you move in the shadows, playing the long game, orchestrating outcomes behind closed doors. You're not in a rush. You're not about instant gratification. You're about the slow, steady work of dismantling the old and constructing something greater, a kingdom that's yours, with foundations no one can see until it's too late. While they're distracted with the surface, you're digging beneath, changing the rules of the game. You're creating situations they'll walk right into, setting up opportunities that seem like accidents, bending circumstances in your favor without them realizing until it's too late. And when the dust settles, when the fog clears, they look around and see the kingdom you've built in their absence, and it's far too late for them to enter. Chaos is often misunderstood. It's not just destruction, it's reconstruction. You don't just tear down, you reshape. You don't just disrupt, you remake. While they're busy posting selfies, measuring likes, and trying to capture fleeting moments, you're shaping the future. You're leaving them behind in their pursuit of validation while you control the very systems they think they own. You don't need attention to build. You don't need applause. You don't need their permission. You've become the one who quietly rearranges realities. And when the world wakes up to what you've done, it will be a kingdom, not a house of cards. And they'll be left wondering how they missed the blueprint. In the end, you're not just another person in the crowd. You're the force that reshapes everything around you, the storm that quietly gathers before it strikes. You don't need validation, approval, or the world's applause. Your purpose is your guide, and it's the only loyalty that matters. You've mastered the art of remaining unseen until it's too late for your enemies to escape. You've built kingdoms in silence while they've wasted time on fleeting distractions. You've become the kind of force that others can't help but fear, not because of what you say, but because of what you represent. A quiet, unstoppable power that waits for no one. Your presence doesn't demand attention, it demands self-reflection. And for those too weak to look in the mirror, that's terrifying. They can't manipulate you, they can't control you, they can't break you. You're the weapon evolution designed for a world of noise, and while they're busy making noise, you're quietly carving your legacy. The world will never understand your moves, not until they've already been executed and there's nothing they can do to reverse them. So keep moving forward, silently building, relentlessly achieving, and letting the chaos unfold around you. Keep being the calm before the storm, the architect of worlds that only you can see coming. They'll never catch up. They'll never know when the checkmate happens. And when they finally realize who you are, you'll already be miles ahead, having built something greater than they could ever imagine. Because, in the end, you're not just playing the game. You are the game. And they'll be left wondering how you pulled it off, when all you did was stay true to the mission. If you found something in this that resonates, then you're not just a passive observer. You're someone who understands the power of playing the game the right way. So don't just sit back and let the noise drown out what truly matters. Hit that subscribe button like this video and drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts, your reflections, or anything that stood out to you. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's ready to step out of the shadows and make their own mark. This isn't just content. This is a call to elevate, to act, to disrupt. Don't miss out on the next piece of the puzzle. Hit subscribe, stay tuned, and let's keep this journey going. Your future self will thank you.